Hey, what's up everybody? I'm SuperSonicJB, and man, looking back at my old high school yearbook makes me feel so freaking frustrated. I mean, I'm not in any of these club pictures. But then again, I was voted most likely to not join a club in high school. Also, most likely to have a copy of Wii Music. But that's all in the past now, because today I'm going to change that. Well, the first one at least. I started my own club, and I invite anyone out there to join. Now, here's the thing. I didn't actually tell anybody what it is about, but whatever. I'll think of something when I go to the club meeting, which is, right now.
Hey man, I got the club.
You got the club?
You said you needed a club, so I brought one over for you, bud.
No, I said I needed people to join my club.
Oh, well, I guess I don't need this club anymore. So what kind of club you got, man?
That's the thing, though. I don't actually know.
Can it be about actual clubs?
No.
Doritos?
No!
Murder?
No! Wait. You didn't actually, you know.
Oh, no, I was just trying to spread ketchup on my sandwich.
Oh, same!
Well, can we do a ketchup club where we ketchup?
No!
Okay, I'm out of here then.
Huh, I wonder if this is how the literature club began. Ah, Doki Doki Literature Club. The game makes me think twice about starting on my computer. Visual novels here have never really been my type of thing, but back in 2017, a lot of people I knew were playing this game and told me to give it a try too. And eventually, I gave in and played it. And I'll say this, I wasn't disappointed. Team Salvato took the visual novel genre and messed around with it to make a truly horrifying experience. Which is why I'm still afraid of reading books to this very day. The game revolved around you joining a club full of cute anime girls and Natsuki. It was just a joke! It was just a joke! And you write poems at the end of each day to impress one of the three girls. Yep, I said 3, because apparently Monica doesn't get her own route, and it made her quite mad. In fact, mad enough to kill off all the other girls. I played this game expecting to get laid, but ended up needing therapy instead. This game was a massive success across the internet, and just recently, DDLC Plus was announced to the public. It's the original game, now on consoles featuring updated graphics and some new content here and there. But we're not here to talk about that, no. Today, we're going to go ahead and talk about a bunch of mods for DDLC that fans have made throughout the years. There's tons of mods out there. Most of them were a sequel or a different take on the original game, but with a happy ending. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these mods and review them. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out some Doki Doki Literature Club mods. Let's start things off with one of the most popular mods out there, Monica After Story. At the end of the second act in the original game, you're supposed to delete Monica's character file after she deletes all the other girls. Monica gets upset at you for doing that, and bam, you're sent into the third act. But what if you regret deleting her and want to bring her back? Well, you're in luck, because that's what Monica After Story is here for. This is a mod that lets you interact with Monica by asking her questions, playing games with her, telling her about your day, etc. It's by no means a complicated mod, but being able to see Monica again and do things with her you never thought was possible is what this mod's all about. Finally, I can play Hangman with Monica and try not to think about Sayori! In this mod, you can build up your relationship with Monica and make her fall head over heels for you. If you visit her daily, she will love you dearly, but if you play a little bit and don't visit again for around 6 months or so, she'll be very upset with you, or just leave you altogether. Yep, if your relationship with Monica is that bad, she'll leave to go get milk and will never return. Unless you just set the date back to the last time you played the game. Then there she is, happy as can be! She's also a goddess at chess and was pretty tough to beat in Pong too. Yes, I said was because the developers of this mod nerfed her Pong skills, so now she's super easy to beat. And she even insults you if you lose to her. Are you letting me win on purpose? Wow, Monica, that wasn't very nice of you. Time to delete you again. Oh wait, I can't because she got rid of her character file. Oh well. You can also change the background music here and there, and can even add your own music, which can be pretty hilarious hearing Malamar play while Monica and I have a serious conversation. There's also a lot of gifts that you can give Monica, and during certain days like holidays, either your birthdays or your anniversary, we'll have special events that take place in this mod. And with there still being updates to this very day, there will always be new things that you can do in this game. Man, I can't wait for the day they add the mod where Monica comes out of your computer and feeds you. Overall, this is a pretty fun mod to play around with. Sure, Monica can repeat herself quite often. Yes, Monica, I know you're a vegetarian. You told me about 25 times in a row now. but it's still a nice experience and gives Monica the happy ending she's always wanted. Now, if Monica After Story is too boring for you, you could always try the DDLC Purist mod. This is a mod that takes place after the events of the original game, and it continues the story and tries to give the girls all a happy ending they deserve. It starts off with you bringing back Monica after she was deleted, and you tell her you're gonna make things right and save all the girls from despair. So here's the thing about this mod, you have to play through the original game again in order to get to the new stuff, and that can be a little annoying, not gonna lie. That's like telling me I have to finish Garfield 1 before I watch Garfield 2. Come on, people! The real mod starts off when you get to choose which girl to hang out with right before the school festival. Here's the thing though, you won't have a Monica route until you complete all the other routes. Now that may seem hard, but I actually find it fitting. After you give all the other girls a happy ending, you and Monica come to terms, and she feels happy about all your hard work up to this point, and you get a happy ending with her. But we'll talk more about that later. So each girl's route plays differently, but your main goal is to make them happy and fall in love with each one of them. Or in my case, all of them, since come on, I had to unlock the Monica route. She's my favorite! For Sayori's route, you help her become happy again and take her out on dates, like to a cafe and to a park. I mean, my idea for a date is a trip to GameStop to buy Kirby games, but if she wants to go to other places, then that's fine too. For Natsuki's route, you learn more about her abusive father and why she acts the way she does. In Yuri's route, she keeps thinking she's a burden to everyone, and it's up to you to cheer her up and protect her from bullies. And finally, once you complete all those routes, you unlock Monica's route, where you play through the main game again, but this time you can hang out with Monica and date her now. And yeah, Monica's route was definitely my favorite. You feel so many emotions while playing through a route, and her ending scene is probably one of the most touching scenes I've seen in a modded game. We both write poems describing our feelings towards each other, and we hold on to each other tight as the mod is ending and everything around us is fading to white. It's just a sad but beautiful ending that gets me crying even more than that scene in the Lion King game where Simba dies. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, this mod also has bad endings too. It mostly involves things where the girls hate you and leave the literature club altogether. Hey, all I said was I thought it'd be fun if we played Eminem's Racing together. Why hate me for that? So yeah, overall this mod was an absolute blast to me. Sure, having to play through the beginning of the game again was a hassle, but the story, music, and artwork here more than made up for it. And I'm glad all the girls got the happy endings they so deserved. And if that mod was too sappy and heartful, I don't see me using those two words ever again, you can always play the DDLC Yandere mod. Now what is a yandere, you may ask? If you somehow don't know already, a yandere is a term used for a person who is initially loving and caring to someone they have a strong affection for, until their loves become feisty and mentally destructive. So basically this mod has all the girls in the literature club act super crazy and do bad things because they're in love with you. I mean, how could you not love a guy who wears a Sonic Adventure 2 shirt, am I right? So basically Sayori forces us to join the literature club and everything seems normal at first. But as you continue talking to the girls, you start to notice something strange. Whoa, wait a sec! That desk isn't lined up like the rest of them! No, but for real though, the girls start acting extremely flirty and then end up fighting, trying to get my attention. Monica tells me to quit the literature club because it's super dangerous, but what does she know? She insulted my Pong skills earlier. Things get a little too freaky, but thankfully Monica distracts the other girls, so I'm able to escape in one piece. I managed to get home, but uh-oh, who's at my front door? Yep, it's Sayori, and she wants inside. I think I'll just... yeah. Oh crap, it didn't work! So I try to fake being sick, but Sayori refuses to leave me alone. So what do? Man up and tell her to stop acting crazy? Nope. I push her out the door and hide like a baby in the house. And then I just casually walk into school the next day. Oh yeah, cause come on, it's not like there's a bunch of yandere girls out to get me. Oh, there they are. Yeah, the music gets really freaky at this part and the girls have completely lost it. Thankfully, Monica comes to my rescue and takes me to safety. Or so I thought, cause even she turns into a yandere, and then all four of the girls surround me in the hall, and I'm forced to jump out a window and try to escape from them. My landing wasn't very pleasant, but I ended up running as far away as possible to escape from this crazy mod. Dokis don't wear ties. I mean, yeah, obviously you can tell they wear ribbons instead. Bam! End of story. So this mod was inspired by a joke on Reddit involving the video game Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. But instead of having plumbers, we had the DDLC cast instead. Cause come on, why the heck not? I mean, just looking at the title screen alone makes me incredibly uncomfortable. The game starts off with your character's mom calling you and wanting you to wear an ugly tie to school. But since our character named John here is a plumber, he refuses. But mom keeps nagging him, so he gives in and wears it. After mom nags John some more about finding a wife, we skip over to Sayori's point of view. I'm sorry, Jane! Her father nags her about wanting to have some grandkids, and then this line appears, and I ended up throwing myself into the washer. And just like the game, we go into this little montage of two main characters getting dressed for the day. John and Jane end up meeting, and we are also introduced to Vincent, who I guess is supposed to be the narrator of the story? I mean, if I had hair like that, I'd be narrating too. Then we get the option to choose who gets to make the first move. I chose John, and he made me cringe so hard, I went back into the washer. Sayori/Jane rejects John and goes to a job interview, where her employer looks like a rejected PBS Kids character. Here's the thing though, you can accept or decline the job offer, but there's a third option where you can work things out. And this leads to this guy asking her to take her clothes off? What? Why is this a thing? Then Vincent, the narrator, scolds us for making a stupid decision, and we get another choice to decline this proposal or strip. And what did I do? I deleted the mod and moved on with my life. And yeah, in case you're wondering, the mod only keeps getting more and more ridiculous as you continue playing. There's other characters in this game too, but none of them are really that interesting. And I just couldn't continue playing through this thing, so I booted up DDLC Summertime instead. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this mod, so I'm actually really excited to check it out. The game starts off similarly to the original game, with Sayori nagging you to join a club, but instead of giving in to her, you actually say no to her. How can you possibly say no to that face? Then we get this nice little opening credit sequence. Not a lot of mods have this, but it's kind of a nice cool feature here. So it's officially summertime. Wow, I never would have guessed that given the game's title. And one day, we're relaxing in the city, we run into Sayori and Monica, and they invite us over to a pool to have some fun. I accept cause, why else? And meet the girls at the pool the next day. Sayori gives me a big scare by splashing me, but thankfully, my girl Monica avenges me. And that's why you're my favorite. After messing around at the pool for a little while, we all go our separate ways and call it a day. We even get these nice little time cards in between each day, which is a nice touch. We all meet up at the park the next day, and I get introduced to Yuri and Natsuki. Hey, you even get to try some of Natsuki's cupcakes again, nice! Monica then has us play a minigame, where you have to select the meaning of an acronym. Each girl elects a certain meaning to choose, just like the poem system from the original game. It just sucks that there's only 3 options here, and none of them are for Monica, but whatever. The next thing we do is head to a cafe and talk for a little while. Monica asked me what I like to do. Well, I can't tell her I like playing Dragon Ball Connect during my free time, so I'll just say I like doing guy things.
Like what?
Play Dragon Ball Connect, dang it! So the main gimmick of this mod is to date one of the girls by spending time with them during summertime. There's also a ton of different endings you can unlock, so if you want to get the best endings possible, then you better make the right choices. For me, I once again went on a Monica route, and I'll say this, I wasn't disappointed. We get to go on some awesome dates, and I love how she playfully teases me. We all go to the pool again, but Natsuki didn't come, which is a bummer because I really wanted some more cupcakes. While at the pool, we play some more games, eat some snacks, and enjoy the sunshine together. And Monica's route ends with us kissing and expressing our love to each other. Again, this is only for the Monica route. All the other girls have their own special endings. This is just the one I went with. And wow, I'm so glad I chose Monica. Because check out the amazing artwork here! Dragon Ball Connect wishes it was this good! Dokis and Dragons! Wow, this just keeps getting weirder and weirder by the minute. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if the literature club was an RPG club instead? No? Okay then. So this mod, instead of writing poetry, you dive into the fine art of tabletop RPGs. I mean, I've never been good at poetry before, but if there's anything I'm good at, it's wasting tons of time on RPGs. I was also voted most likely to waste hours on RPGs in high school. Here's the thing though, I've never been a huge fan of Dungeons and Dragons or other tabletop RPGs, so most of the references and jokes go right over my head. Natsuki, you certainly have a big mouth for someone who's a huge min-maxing munchkin. Ah ha ha ha! Wow, that's so funny. I totally got that reference. So basically each person has a turn and they get to roll the dice and see what will happen to their characters. When it's your turn, you can choose what path you want to take, and making the right choice leads to progress, and making the wrong choice leads to failure. And we end the mod off by killing the Goblin King, and Natsuki asks us to spend more time with us. Ho ho ho, looks like Natsuki wants to have some fun with me. Oh wait, just Monica? Screw Natsuki, sorry, it's Monica time! Now I do have one more mod I wanted to take a look at, and this one I'm really looking forward to, so let's check it out. Up last but not least, we have DDLC World of Dreams. Cool title considering I dream about Monica all the time. So here's the thing about this mod, it's still not finished yet. As of right now, there's only one act in this game that goes on for many hours. Act 2 is currently in development, so maybe I'll do a sequel or update video in the future when it comes out, but for now let's check out part 1 and see how good it is. There's been a lot of talk online about people saying it's one of the best DDLC mods out there, so let's check it out. So the mod actually starts out with you, the player, chilling at home one night and going to bed. But as you're falling asleep, some weird stuff happens around you. But since I'm already asleep, who cares? We then meet the DDLC protagonist, Meiji. At least I think that's how it's pronounced. And yeah, he's just watching anime. And snooping on Sayori a bit. Who now has brown hair for some reason. Eventually he goes to bed too, but later on that night, the player wakes up and realizes he's not in his house anymore. No, he's now in the main character's house in DDLC. But that's not all, because eventually we find a mirror and realize we are now inside of Meiji's body. And I thought Freaky Friday was the best body swapping story. And it only gets weirder here because apparently Meiji isn't gone. No, he's also in his body, but he has no control over it and can only communicate through his mind. Or our mind. What? He asks me everything and I tell him everything about how this is a visual novel and the world around him isn't real. And he takes it super well. Or maybe not. After explaining the story of DDLC to Meiji, I convinced him that we need to spend time with Sayori to help her with her depression. The next day we visit Sayori and take her on a date to a cafe, where we meet this really hot chick, Kotonoa. Again, sorry if I butcher any of these names, I'm only a human! With the Pikachu coffee mug! This girl will also play a part in this story, so we'll get back to her later. After spending a nice long day with Sayori, we go to school the next day, but we meet this weird hair-colored chick, who's actually a bully, but since I now have control over what Meiji says, I put a stop to her shenanigans and insult her. Who'd you spread your legs for this time, I wonder? A businessman? A politician? Your mom? Wow, I wasn't expecting it to go that far, but hey, it worked because she backs off!
Wow. What an asshole.
We then go to the library and get books for Yuri and Natsuki, and we run into Kotonoa again. Yeah, I expect to run into her a lot in this game. And would you look at the cover of Parfait Girls? It looks really familiar. The next day we get super sick and end up having to stay home from school. But thankfully Sayori brings the literature club to us and we get to spend the day with them. But Monica seems to know that we're not the normal Meiji, because I'm secretly a superhero. And I end up accepting the offer to join the literature club. Now a lot of stuff happens after I join the club. Monica learns that I'm indeed the player in Meiji's body. The bully from earlier becomes our friend. We meet Sayonika, or in this case Mori. Another bully picks on Yuri and tries to seduce us. And the biggest thing is that Monica moves in with us because her parents are worse than that Johnny Test game on the DS. And that's saying something. Now as you play on, the mod actually starts to get pretty dark. You play DDLC with Monica and it gives her the scare of her life, because apparently she hasn't done anything to the game yet. We find Sayori's noose under her bed and end up burning it. But there's something wrong with us and Meiji, because we start talking crazy and had no control of what we were doing. And Sayori's depression keeps getting worse. Monica brings us to the space classroom, and this, believe it or not, lets Meiji and I split apart. But not without making us feel a ton of pain. I mean, that was pretty much my reaction to the live-action Powerpuff Girls announced. In my opinion, this mod just keeps getting better and better as you play on. The story is so well written, the music is fantastic, and I love the chemistry between Monica and the player. It starts off as a I fully don't trust Monica relationship into a romantic relationship that has people making fun of us over it. What, like you guys never loved someone before? Back to the story, we eventually tell Sayori the truth about living in the visual novel, and this causes her to swear for the first time ever. Sayori, how could you? This is a family-friendly channel, so shut the fuck up! Thankfully, Meiji calms her down, and she agrees to keep this all a secret. We then spend the next few days with all the girls preparing to get ready for the school festival, and we confess that Monica is living with us and admit Sayori has depression. Man, this mod just makes me feel so many emotions all at once. At one point, I even get to go to the mall with all the girls, and I get to see Mori and Kotonoa again. I also can't help but feel there's something suspicious about Kotonoa, considering she works at all these jobs and keeps spending all her money on us. But we don't really get an answer on what's up with her, so let's hope part 2 fixes that. And on the day of the school festival, everything goes horribly wrong, because as soon as I wake up, Monica is there and says there's something wrong. And as we rush over to Sayori's, we find her being hung by a noose, but thankfully she's still alive, and we manage to pull her down and save her life. We barely manage to escape into the space classroom as the world around us falls apart, and the mod ends with the 4 of us gathering together and trying to plan out what we need to do in order to survive in the future. And that was Act 1 of DDLC World of Dreams. I'll admit, I didn't like ending on a cliffhanger, but this was honestly one of the best mods throughout the entire series, and I'd recommend it to anyone interested. So those are some DDLC mods, and overall, I'd say it was pretty fun playing through them. The fact that DDLC is 4 years old and we're still getting a lot of mods to this very day really tells you something. But at the same time, I never got to actually make my own club a reality.
Well, might I suggest a club about Garfield?
No! Wait, that gives me an idea. And so, I would like to welcome everyone to the I Hate This Game Club.
Man, I wish this was the Club